Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle Kane. Today I'm going to show you my grain-free shepherd's pie. It's really easy. You can make it dairy-free. It's just so delicious. With St. Patrick's Day coming up, it's one of our favorites in our house. So starting off, you're going to need a whole chopped onion, 2 cups of chopped carrots. I like baby carrots because they're more tender. Either fresh, frozen, or canned peas. I'm just going to use a whole can. You need thyme, rosemary, sage, salt, tapioca flour for thickening, some chicken stock, 2 pounds of ground beef, and optional, but I highly encourage it, a glass of red wine, both on the side while you're making it and in the dish. 1 glass is 5 ounces, and some type of fat. Now, if you want to keep it dairy-free, you can use coconut oil, you could use lard. You can also use ghee, which is what I'm going to use. Ghee is a clarified butter, and it just has the most delicious buttery flavor. I can't even explain it. It's just amazing. It also has a lot of really great health benefits. So we're going to melt that in there. I'm going to start off on medium heat, and then we'll just adjust as we go. And we're going to start with our onion and our carrot first. Get them nice and tender before we add our ground beef. There we go. I'm going to hold off adding my peas because I don't want them to be mushy. If you have fresh or frozen peas, you can add them, but I'm going to hold off. So while this is getting going, I'm going to add my herbs. If you have fresh herbs, it's optimal, but I rarely ever have fresh herbs, so I'm starting with dry herbs. And we're going to use a teaspoon of sage, 2 teaspoons of whole dried thyme. I'm going to put it in my hand before I put it in the dish because I like to kind of just open it up and crush it. And a whole tablespoon of dried rosemary leaves. Probably the only time you guys are going to see me measure things. Okay. Same thing, I'm going to crush this. There we go. All right, and a whole teaspoon of salt. I like pink Himalayan salt. You can use any sea salt you want. You can use kosher salt. All right, we're just going to give this a good stir. And I'm going to cover this and let it cook for just about 2 minutes. All right, this is looking really good. Softening nicely. My onions are getting slightly translucent, which is exactly what you want. The herb smell is a little overwhelming at this point, but we don't have our other ingredients in yet. So I have 2 pounds of very lean ground beef because it's from our cow. So if you're buying it in the store, just get probably the leanest that you can get. That's actually a taste preference. If you like a fattier meat, that's fine. Oh, it's so good. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands. I'll be right back. All right, so my hands are clean now. This is one of my favorite tools. If you haven't seen these before, it just makes life easier for chopping ground beef. Should say breaking it up in the pan. So I'm just going to chop it as much as I can, and then we're going to cook it covered for a while. Okay. So I'm just going to cover this. We're going to come back, give it another chop every couple minutes until I think it's done enough. Okay, I've been just giving this a little chop here. It's perfect doneness for what I want it to be right now. You just, like, if you see a tiny bit of pink, that's fine because we're going to be putting this in the oven in the very end. So the only thing that we have left to add is some liquids, some thickener, and our peas. So I'm putting the whole can of peas in here. 1 cup of chicken stock is going in. Woo. If you don't have chicken stock, vegetable stock's fine. It just adds a little bit more flavor. And I am using 5 ounces of red wine. Do not use a wine that you would not like to drink. I know that it seems like a great way to use cheap wine in cooking, but just don't do it. And I'm going to take a 1/2 cup of water and 2 tablespoons of our tapioca starch to mix in for thickening. So there's 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch in cold water. Mix it in here. We're just gonna let that cook for a couple minutes. Try not to get any lumps. I just noticed I have one. I'm gonna go after that. There we go. So we're just gonna let it boil for a couple minutes. It smells so yummy right now, you guys. It smells like wine, and in all the best ways. So after this has cooked for a couple minutes and looks like slightly thicker to me, I'm gonna put it in our pan. I have a 9x13 glass pan here. There's really no need to butter it or grease it because there's so much liquid in this, it should not have any stickage whatsoever. Is that a word, stickage? Super not a word, is it? No. Oh my gosh. All right, while this is thickening up, I'm just going to grate some Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. If you want to keep this dairy-free, you're obviously going to either skip this step or use your dairy-free alternative cheese for topping. All right, so this is probably about 1.5 cups or so of grated Parmesan. And my meat and sauce looks super good. It's nice and thick now, exactly how we want it. 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch was perfect. So I'm going to remove this from the heat. Get rid of that. I have my 9x13 here. I'm just going to hot pot out and dump this. There we go. Oh my goodness, it looks so yummy. So good. I know where to put this stuff. Okay. So I'm just gonna smooth this out a little bit. It will also get thicker as it cools. So when you have leftovers the next day, it's going to be a really, really nice consistency and texture. Now, if you haven't looked at my other videos, I have a video on my favorite way to cook sweet potatoes. I will link it down below for you. This is essential for this recipe because it's what I use to top my shepherd's pie. So I have them right here. We're just going to top it like this. You could also use mashed potatoes, that's more traditional. But I just love sweet potatoes so much more than white potatoes. Then I'm going to take my Parmesan cheese and just sprinkle it over the top. Now this is already completely cooked. Everything's like the meat is fully cooked. When I put it in the oven, it's just going to be to broil the cheese on top because I like the salty Parmesan to be just really yummy and have a crispy golden brown to it. I will show you what that looks like when I pull it out. All right, you guys, my shepherd's pie looks amazing. I can't wait to eat it. I'm gonna pull it out of the oven. It is bubbly hot and gorgeous. We're going to let this rest for 20 to 30 minutes before we even think about digging into it because as you can see, it is mega happy right now. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's all plated.